Welcome. I'll allow a couple seconds here for everyone to get settled. It's great to see everyone. I'll allow people to trickle in as the meeting goes on. Feel free to turn your camera on or off, whatever you're most comfortable with. And welcome to our town hall. We host these every Thursday throughout the school year as a space for Montessori school leaders to come together and talk about different school leadership topics. Sometimes we host them ourselves and sometimes we invite speakers. And this week we have Rupali Sharma returning. She was here last week to talk about supporting and training staff, and she's here today to talk about retention strategies for Montessori schools. I think this is a very hot topic. It's towards the end of enrollment season, so this is usually a time where we can reflect and look back on what families are staying with us, what families are not, what are the reasons that families are leaving. So it's a great time for a discussion on retention. I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Rupali. She is a school leader herself, so she is in your shoes as well. And as always, these town halls are very collaborative. So feel free at any point to unmute yourself, to ask a question, to share an idea, or you can also use the chat. All right, Rupali.
Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Elizabeth, for having me here again on the Nido platform. I'm delighted to share my experience as a school leader and what strategies we've used at our school for retention. And we've been in business for 9 years now, and over the past 9 years, we've learned many strategies. We've formalized some of those strategies into our yearly plan, and we've been definitely seeing the benefits of that. So I'll be sharing my take on retention, and I'd love to hear from everybody. So if there's a question, do feel free to ask. And if you have any ideas and want to piggyback on some of the things that I've shared, please feel free to do that. So without much ado, let's get started. Just give me a second here. All right. So retention strategies for your school, engaging parents for sustainable growth. And it's truly just that. If your parents are happy and are excited about your school, they're going to return. So I would start with, my journey as a parent at a Montessori school. When my son was younger, I was looking for a school that would not only just help him be the best person that he was, but also support me as a parent. We had just moved from India, and the country was new to me, and the culture was new. So having a school that really understood our family and our needs meant a lot. So we toured many Montessori schools in the area, and the one where we chose to send our child was the one where our very first contact made us feel that we were welcome there. And so that initial communication, just greeting somebody with a nice warm smile, welcoming us, meeting my son at his eye level, then the head of school took us to her conference room and talk to us about the value of Montessori education and what that would mean for our son. So it wasn't just giving a tour, but really listening to our story and matching the value of her Montessori school to our values. That parent partnership at that very first instant made such an impact on how we viewed that school as opposed to the other schools that we ended up enrolling there. So I would say, think about how parents feel at your school. We have certain families, single parents, some families where grandparents are more involved. So it's not necessarily just the parent who is involved with the child, it's also the extended family. And how do all those people feel when they are communicating or engaging with your school? Now, who should engage with um, with the with the parents or with the families? So we're going to discuss that through our uh, presentation today. And what are the touch points during the whole year? When will you touch points with the parents? What would you say that it would make those touch points count? And the power of student ambassadors. Nothing says this is where I want my child to be than the student showing that they have achieved excellence. Over and over, whenever I ask parents what are they looking for in a school, academic excellence is one of the top priorities, and happiness. So a happy child who is achieving their academic standards is what parents want. It's a good time to reflect and say, are we doing that? Are we listening to our parents and seeing what they want, and are we matching that? It doesn't mean that we have to do grades, but what does your school showcase? Do you have portfolios? Do you have events where students can shine? And then building a culture of retention with your staff. How are you going to build that connection with the parents? And finally, we'll end with what successes you've had at your schools, what are the challenges you're facing at your school, and open that for a conversation. The first thing to note in Montessori is that the parent, the child, and the teacher, they form that triangle in the relationship and for the student to succeed. We often say to our parents that, it is the parent and teacher relationship that helps the child succeed. It's truly magical when the parents and teachers are on the same page. You'll see that the child thrives. And when the parents and teachers are not on the same page, children somehow understand that they can feel that by osmosis. So how are we going to make sure that that foundational relationship is in place within within the school? Now, the values of the parents, if they are reflected in the values of the school and the classroom, that bond is stronger. When parents feel valued, that hey, somebody's listening to me, I've shared an idea and there's something happening with that idea. So when they feel valued, they're going to definitely engage more, and that experience is going to be more meaningful. Now, the other reason why we should consider retaining families is because the cost of retaining current families is much lower than the cost of getting new families to enroll. It's a lot of time. All of us, we are all very much aware of how much time and effort it takes to get new families in the door, to interview them, to make sure they're the right fit for your school, and to retain them. But having families who already have committed to your school, nurturing them and engaging them, having them be your spokesperson, those are the strategies that are going to help your retention. And so, how I would say, what do you believe in your school? Who are the people that are most critical for parent engagement? I would say you can type it in chat, and you can type the numbers, or you can type the names of the titles. Who do you think are most valuable in your parent communication? You can also um, unmute yourself and just speak. So Ethel says everyone. Yep, that's true. It's everyone. Everyone is important. Here we have at the beginning of the school year, on the very first Friday, just as soon as school is out, we don't have after school programs that first week of school. And we offer just, a laid back picnic. There's no presentation, no teachers presenting, there's no mm, message other than let's connect. And so teachers, parents, just gather together. The parents bring a dinner or snack, and from 3:30 to 5:30 we hang out in our school's yard. Children play, they connect, parents connect with each other. If we have any particular, so there was one year when you started using a new app, and parents didn't know how to sign up and get onto that app. So we had one parent volunteer who was helping other parents navigate the app. But other than that, this is a time when parents can just connect with administrators and teachers. They can connect with each other, and it gets us started on a nice note. And parents and teachers get to know each other. It's not a parent teacher conference, just a very nice, happy event. So once we start engaging parents, what are the true touch points that matter? I When we started our school, I started looking at Rick Newberry's Enrollment Catalyst program. And if you're not familiar with it, I would highly recommend you to look it up. It's Rick Newberry, and his company is called Enrollment Catalyst. He writes a blog which just focuses on enrollment, retention, um, strategies for a school to develop word of mouth program, your fan base, all of those. How do you conduct surveys? And Rick Newberry has done a great job. We've been using his strategies at school, and that's what I'm going to share over here. So, one of the main things is personalized communication. When you see the families right from day one, how do you how do you add value to that interaction? How is it personalized about their child uh, to that family? Then what are the other proactive outreach moments that you can have, so when you have something good to share? During my training, one of the uh, ratios that I was taught by one of my mentors was tell 10 positive things to a family before you start talking about a negative issue or concern that you may have. So you need to proactively reach out to the parents 10 times before you're going to get to a concern. So, what are those positive touch points? One of the things that our teachers do, we have a Google album, and every week on Friday or Saturday, the teachers share a classroom newsletter highlighting different activities that are going on in the classroom. And then once a month, they send pictures, 3 pictures, highlighting one curricular or 2 curriculum areas. So they might say in September, they might highlight social interaction. In October, they might highlight following directions, normalizing in the classroom. In November, they might highlight language or math activities, and so on and so forth. And what they do is once a month, the teachers take all the students, and to each parent, they write an email highlighting the child's success, and they add pictures or videos to that email. And it just becomes a wonderful way to demonstrate progress throughout the school year. So it's not a meeting, it's not a um, report card, but just, hello, I just wanted to share this is something exciting that's happening, and talk to your child about it. We also have parent teacher conferences. And how do teachers reach out in advance to say, we're looking forward to seeing you. Here are some things you might want to consider to discuss. What are the materials you want the teachers to share with the parents? What are some of the topics you might want the teachers to share with the parents? Like really being prepared for those events helps parents feel that they are heard and it's not just one size fits all. First impressions with everything, whether they're coming to your classroom, whether they're coming to your school, whether you're writing an email or talking to them on the phone, all of those touch points are going to have a positive impact. Your website is another place where they're going to go. Your social media platforms are where they're going to go. So what messages are you sharing there that make a difference? We had a parent recently who contacted us. She is enrolling her two children for our summer camp, and I said, "Oh, how did you hear about our school?" And she said, "During COVID times, I did a virtual tour with you, and ever since I've been following your school on Facebook. And now my children are ready to come and join the summer camp." And so you never know how long that nurturing may take. It could be a few weeks, it could be a few months, and sometimes a few years before a parent uh, engages with you. Then what we found also is that parents really need a reason to come to school and engage. We've done parent education evenings, tea with teachers, coffee with me. We've tried different strategies to get parents to come to the school, but the most successful events are when children are presenting something. So when a child, this particular picture shows a student displaying his STEAM Fair project. And the parents are completely engaged with that because it's a 6 week long project and most of the work is done at school, but they have to do some of the reading at home. And the parents are engaged in taking the child to the library or discussing the topic with the child or making the biome. And all of those events, all of those activities add up to the parent experience. And parents also love to learn with their child. So it's really endearing to see how, the whole family gets involved in an activity. So one of the things to do is to map all the touch points that you have at your school on your school calendar. So right from the first phone call and email to the various tours that you do, what is your calendar? What does it look like? What are the events that your school hosts where parents may come, grandparents may come? There are some events at our school that are only meant for parents and not for extended family. This is a spring tea event and a poetry recital. That's when only we can have two adults at a time just because of the space restrictions. But then you can have classroom visits, classroom observations, conferences, informal visits to the classrooms, celebrations. We have a maker fair, we do the spring tea, we have a holiday show, we have the end of the year show, we have the STEAM fair. So those are like our 5 anchors. Every 2 months, there is an event where all parents come in. Then we bookend the year with the picnic in September and a parent appreciation breakfast in the last week of school. So, it's just a nice way to gather parents. We also have middle of the year in March, we have our fan event, which is also another strategy developed by Rick Newberry, and it's Friends and Ambassadors Network of the school. And that's really to promote your school. So that's a wine and cheese event. So it's only for adults. It has a flair to it. It's exciting. There's, parents share their stories. So that's another way of having parents think about, oh, I am in a great place at the school. And it's not us telling the story, but parents telling parents. We, this year for our fan night, we had a children's house parent who was, you know, the child is now 3 and ready to be able to go to a private school in the area. And the parent was thinking, oh, that's a well known, established 100-year-old school, and it's a prep school. I want my child to go there. And we were trying to talk about the value of Montessori. So the teachers and I had met with the parents, and we had talked about, what this child will do in this fancy school is conform to what the school wants the child to do. It's not necessarily that just because the tuition is higher and it has all the bells and whistles that it provides a better education. There's nothing as good as Montessori, sorry, as good as Montessori at that age. So they had that conversation with us, and at the fan event, one of our alumni families spoke about her son. And her son had been at our school from preschool all the way through middle school and is now in high school at a local private school. So, hearing that parents speak about the skills that her son had developed in confidence, self advocation, um, able to have a strong work ethic, managing their time, all these skills that are not measured on a test. When this parent could talk about it, the new family, the children's house family felt, okay, I'm in the right place. And they immediately enrolled him for the following year. So it sometimes is having, parents talk to parents. We also offer education nights. Again, we've had positive discipline workshops. We did a series of 6 workshops with Kristen Anchor. These were all virtual workshops. So meet where the parents are. They're busy, they may be traveling, they may not be able to come in for an in person education night. But now with technology, we can take education, that same information to them where they are. So just like we meet the students where they are, take your information to the parents where they are. So, what are the regular communications that you have with your parents, right? So, just then making a touch point, making it engaging, making it meaningful. As I said, our teachers, they in the car line when there's drop off and pick up, they will share some small tidbit from the day. Just saying hello. Our administrator is always outside and saying hello, greeting them with a big warm smile. If a parent or a child is having a rough morning, usually that's the time when they'll inform the administrator or the teacher who's doing drop off, making sure that you empathize with them and listen and then make adjustment. We have a student whose father passed away a few years ago, and on the anniversary, any special anniversary for his father, he usually has um, some form of physical discomfort that day. And for the teachers to know that and acknowledge and be supportive of the mom really helps. The parent does feel that, yes, they're truly able to understand my family's situation and make that adjustment. The communication is also 2 ways. So, yes, parents are going to engage with you, whether it's in an in person meeting, a virtual meeting. We've now started making our conferences available by Zoom also. So, parents who can come in and meet us in the school, that's wonderful. I feel that's probably the best way to meet with the parents, but also we understand that parents travel and want to take the opportunity of that day to go see grandma. And in that case, we do offer conferences by Zoom, and we found that they are just as engaging, and they might not be physically be able to see the portfolios, which we can send them later, but they can engage and have a meaningful conversation with the teachers. So these are ways to build relationships. The more we incorporate these powerful strategies, the better it is for our enrollment. And again, giving parents time to connect with each other, giving them we have monthly family alliance meetings, and those are times when parents can connect with each other. We have a new family who's joined, and the father was wondering how to engage their child at home, because once she gets in the car and he says, "How was your day?" and she says, "Okay," and that's about it. Or, "What did you do today?" "Nothing." And so during this family alliance meeting, a couple of other parents were able to say, instead of asking her, "How was your day?" why don't you ask, "Who did you have lunch with today?" or "Who did you work with today?" And that will give more information. And this father and these two parents, three of them had this conversation, and all of this is happening over Zoom. I'm just facilitating it, but it was great to see, parents say, "Hey, here is a concern I'm having," or "Here's a challenge I'm facing," and another parent just steps in. We used to have a Slack channel before during COVID, and that was great. We were able to, parents would write questions or whatever concerns they had, or clarification questions, and another parent would jump in and answer the question based on the communication that had gone from the teachers. So you can, build your community uh, by just giving a framework to it, just not too open-ended, because then you don't know where it's going. Having some guardrails help. Let me go back one slide. So I truly believe in the power of student ambassadors. When our student ambassadors present to new families, it's just amazing to hear what they say. We don't give them a speech. We do ask them to dress up formally. They know that it's an event, and that they need to step up. And then we just ask them to share some of their favorite activities, or tell, some of the works that they are doing. And because Montessori children are just amazing, they are engaged in their learning. So when a visitor comes to the classroom, they know how to greet, they welcome them with a smile and a handshake, or they may offer tea to them. And then they go ahead and explain the work that they're doing. Now, this is in our recent open house. We had this young little student who came with his parents, and while the teachers are talking to the parents, the student is engaging this young child in building a puzzle. So you can see both of them are very focused, very engaged, and that's what parents enjoy seeing, that, you know, students are playing a crucial role in their own learning. That's a great message for parents. That's a great way for parents to see that my child can become this. There's a concrete example or role model for them. Now, how do you cultivate your student ambassadors? How do you train them? Those all activities happen throughout the school year, when they are out and about, when they go for field trips, when they are engaging in day-to-day walking in the hallway, greeting everyone, making eye contact, presenting their presentations, whether it's a song or a presentation that they have researched and created. All of those are times when you are teaching them how to present themselves, and that then becomes who they are. Just like Maria Montessori says, right? If children engage in things that they love, they become the things that they love. So by cultivating the students at your school, you are also helping them um, become ambassadors when they meet. We had this one student. I had a teacher who came for an interview, and I said, "How did you learn about our school?" And she said, "I was at a Japanese place. I was having my dinner, and there was this child sitting with his father next to our table, and they were having this amazing conversation. So I asked him, which school do you go to? And he mentioned the TEC school and went ahead to explain Montessori to this child over dinner. To this lady. And he didn't know that she was a Montessori teacher, but he was able to explain to her what he had learned and what he was doing at school. And she said, "All right, that's the school I'm going to go and interview at." So you never know where these students will be and what they might say and how that might just spark interest in a prospective parent or a teacher. So just again developing those strong connections between parents, teachers, and students to help mentor and work with other students in your school. We have a book buddy, a reading buddy program. That program is also very helpful in having students kind of go home and talk about their friend in upper elementary or lower elementary who comes to read to them. We recently have a kindergartner who is just enjoying taking her bead chains, her cubing chains to upper elementary and working in the upper elementary classroom with the students, because then she can count and she feels very special. So sometimes giving children the opportunity to work with each other also helps when they go home and say, "Hey, I have a friend who I work with." For our holiday show and our end of the year show, we buddy our children's house students with our lower and upper elementary students. And they form that relationship because they have been their book buddies. And so for students to go up on stage and stand in their spot to do the part that they're supposed to do and then finish and leave the stage, all of that is choreographed with the older students. And so parents see that, and parents see how wonderful, caring, nurturing the older students are, and they want that for their children. So that's another soft, way to engage your parents and retain them. So here are really the 5 top strategies that we have been using, following Rick Newberry's program. Satisfied parents mean that they're going to return. And how do you judge, whether parents are satisfied or not? What systems do you have at your schools to assess parent satisfaction? They might be engaging with you in the car line. They may be smiling and be, answering your questions and talking to you. But does that truly mean they're satisfied? It's important to get that data through surveys. You can do a survey at the beginning of the year about why they chose your school. You can do a mid-year survey, and you can also do an end of the year survey to get their feedback. Meeting them informally and formally for family alliance meetings or at events, getting to hear what they're saying, and then inviting parents for one-on-one conversations. Because sometimes parents will just surprise us and say, "Hey, I'm moving to another school." And nothing is more devastating to me than when a parent comes and says, "We're moving to another school." So by having this regular conversation, you're at least able to engage with them and see what they're thinking. Creating a wow experience, and truly, what parents are very busy. What can we do to make it easier for them? Um, is it the ease of the car line? Is it making sure that all the children are ready and um, all set to go when parents are at the door? Is it, you know, connecting with parents where teachers are sending out information regularly so parents can depend on it? Not all parents are going to read everything that you send. And so, what are different ways of communicating? Is there a handout? Is there a flyer? Is there an email? Is there a phone call? Is there a text message? What are different ways that your system can reach parents? Are you sending reminders? There we have a poetry recital coming up. Is there a reminder going a week before, 3 days before, 1 day before, so that parents have that on their calendar? So just creating um, that clear and concise communication is helpful. Also, when they come to the school, are they feeling welcome, and who is engaging with them? Developing strong relationships. I think trust builds over time, and parents want to know that they can trust you to take care of their children. So, giving teachers and parents time, making time for them to connect, whether it is again through events or meetings, through sharing tidbits. What systems do you have? We use a portal called School Cues, and that allows us to send very quick messages or texts or just a quick photo of the student. I know Montessori Compass does that. Transparent classrooms, you can do that. Just using systems to help develop those genuine connections. We may not get time to meet face to face every time, but keeping the school in the stream of consciousness of the parents is helpful. Also, giving gifts that are going to speak for your school when you're not there. One of the things we've been doing is at the fan event, we give school swag. So we have like a bottle opener with a logo on it that they can just stick on their refrigerator. One year we did a deck of playing cards with our logo on it. And children, every child got the deck of playing cards, right? Giving them a hat during the spring and the summer months with your logo on it. One year we did a picture frame, a wooden picture frame with our logo. We have a laser cutter, so we were able to etch our logo in that and um, have the students' pictures framed in there from the classroom. So you may be able to do something really simple to make sure that parents have those items that remind them of the school and why it's so wonderful to send their child to your school. And then really communicating the value of Montessori education. I think we do not toot our own horn. We are very modest as Montessorians, but it's so important to share what is it about Montessori that helps the child become confident, independent, happy learner. Uh, they are able to take charge of their learning. They can organize. They can uh, advocate for themselves. They can carry themselves with poise when they go out and about. In addition to that, to showcase what are they doing in their reading, writing, math. Parents want to know that their child is meeting benchmarks. Are you doing standardized tests? Are you giving them the information? Are you doing portfolios? Are the portfolios showcasing that excellence in academics? Are you doing a photo album? I don't know. Every school has their own way of showcasing how children are meeting their benchmarks. Whatever it is, how clearly are you explaining or showing that value to parents is important. Is it going through the head of school's newsletter? Is it going out through, perhaps you have a blog that talks about student achievements? So that should be emphasized. The other big part, and this is where Nido has been really amazing with us, is helping showcase clearly what does our school offer, which is unique as compared to other Montessori schools in the area or other private schools in the area. Is your website able to share that? Do you have downloadable ebooks that parents can use? Now we've been able to share the difference between a daycare and the TEC school STEAM program through our downloadable ebook, and we just sometimes print it and give it to families who are thinking of going back to a daycare or are thinking to go back to a traditional mode of learning. So all simple things like that you may use. There's a nice resource library in Nido that you can download for the third year of children's house, kindergarten year, parent relationships. Use the resources that you have to share with your community how you're different. And then when parents do leave, and that's going to happen, people are going to leave at some point. It's when and how they leave that really matters. Identify why they're leaving. Uh, Invite them for a meeting. Keep it factual. Don't get personal. Don't get emotional. But understand what is it that parents were seeking that we could not meet their needs. Sometimes it's just not the right fit, and then it's better that they leave. But now you know that they were not the right fit. Sometimes it could have been something a teacher said, or a head of school said, or the message in our newsletter said that turned them off, or something that our social media post um, created some sort of an anxiety for them. It could be anything, but it's good to know so that you can use that data. Even a small range of families that respond, that small data is better than having no data at all. So look for those reasons why people leave. And what can you do at your school to mitigate those reasons too? So now it's your turn. What is the biggest challenge that your school is facing in engaging parents? And if you'd like to unmute and share those, that's great. If you'd like to type in chat, that's fine. And then what successes have you experienced in your school? I'm going to stop share here so we can see if anyone would like to share.
Hi, I'm Trista. I'm from Montessori School of Louisville in Louisville, Kentucky. Excuse me, I apologize. My camera is non-functioning or I would show my face, but you see a picture there. So we are constantly attempting to engage our families. We do have a lot of the events that you're talking about or similar to the events, but it's almost as if the culture does not exist for attendance to happen regularly. We have the same small group of parents who are consistently attending. Outside, like you said, your most popular events are when the students are showcasing their work. Those are very well attended. But outside of those events, it's just the same 2 or 3 families that are showing up. Do you have a suggestion for how you change that culture? Because that's what I feel like it's a base of. It's just not what parents in our community, quote unquote, do.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say anybody who has had success with that, please do share. I'll share what we've done at our school. Um, it is those few families that will attend. When we started our school, we would have one parent who would attend that event. But we went, um, just as well prepared as we were for 20, we did the presentation for that one person. And that one became 3, and the 3 became 6. And so it builds. But it does take time. And, bringing guest speakers, bringing speakers that that will add value to what the parents are struggling with. So, for example, toilet training for our toddlers or preschool students. That's a big topic. If you bring somebody as a speaker, that engages the family. We brought somebody for positive discipline. And before we presented the positive discipline workshop series for 6 weeks, we did 2 or 3 free events um, in person as well as on Zoom. So that kind of created interest, and parents came. We got a handful of parents for that. But it's that handful of parents that will then talk to other parents during birthday parties, or when they meet outside socially, and they say, did you know about this, or did you hear? Oh no. And and that conversation says, okay, I'll attend the next one. And so having a calendar ahead of time and putting that on your school calendar, that these are the parent events we have, we and you can also make some parent events mandatory. We haven't done that yet, but that's something we're considering, is for parents to say that here are the events that are mandatory: back to school night, a couple of education nights, a couple of family alliance meetings. And some schools, I know, they have a deposit, like maybe $200 deposit. And if they attend, they get $50 removed every time, credited to their account. And if they attend all, they get all $200 back. So some schools have done that to help parents engage more. We haven't done that, but that's something that I've heard other schools do.
I have a follow-up question for that. Who is organizing and making these events happen? Do you have parent volunteers who are doing that, or is there a dedicated person on your administration team who's doing that, or is it a team effort?
Oh, that's a good question. So it's a team effort. We did during our in-service week, we talk about the events that we want to plan for the following year. And so we have parents who have expressed interest. We then think about guest speakers that we want to bring in, or teachers may step up and say, hey, like a music teacher, he said 10 ways to bring music into your home. And so he did a presentation on that. Another teacher said 10 ways to do math at home. And another teacher, she's a great photographer, and she said, I'll do a workshop on photography for children. Like, how do you take good pictures of your children? And so it could be any topic that resonates with your team, that they are excited about and passionate about, that you can plan for the following year. And this is a good time to start planning for the next year. There are some presentations that are done just by me, which are more about the philosophy of the school. But then when it comes to the classroom presentations about what's actually happening in the classroom, then those are done by the teachers. So you can choose, who would be the right person to speak about that particular topic. Does that answer your question, Trista?
Yes, I guess I was thinking more about the events that have to get put on. If there was volunteers who I saw the tea.
Oh, for the actual.
Yeah, the bunk. It takes there
Yeah.
are logistics
Oh,
and
it takes.
manpower that
Yes,
takes
you can.
setting up
You can
chairs.
have.
All of that stuff.
Right. You can have parents volunteer for that. We also have our upper elementary students who help out or arranging some of it. Um, but we have our office administrator. She is in charge of planning the events and making sure that we have a spreadsheet with who's going to do what and how much it's going to cost. Then teachers have responsibilities. So many hands make work lighter. And so you the classroom teachers may be responsible for um, setting up the tables and uh, the parents may come in to help set up the chairs and take down the chairs. You can have a committee. At the beginning of the year, you can say, here are parent volunteer opportunities for your school, and please sign up. And you can reach out to parents to help out. Our parents are quite engaged in that.
Thank you for that. Mhm.
Any other challenges that come to your mind? Some of the um, challenges we had was, when one parent um, starts to say negative things about a classroom teacher or about the school, and then it trickles down into the whole school and just creates a negative environment. And that's a difficult conversation to have. So, one of the ways we mitigated that was when I heard the rumblings of parents complaining or talking behind our back. I reached out to all parents. I met with them individually and invited them to talk with me, speak with me, and we just looked at their child. And I said, it doesn't matter what the other person is saying, but let's look at your child. Let's look at the success your child has had. And one by one by one by one, I was able to meet with the parents from that particular classroom and able to turn them around. And then the person who was truly not satisfied and was looking for a different type of education, they were able to move on to another school. And it just created a happier, better environment for the rest of the community that continued to grow and continued to stay. So I don't know if any of you had any experiences like that, but that was something that was difficult for us to recognize and then implement. How about successes? What successes have you had in making your enrollment shine and getting parents year after year? Something that we did at the beginning of this year was we looked at our data for 9 years, and we looked at who had enrolled, which geographical area had they enrolled from, how many years did they stay with us. And we found that there were some families that only stayed with us for 2 years. And while we want them to go from children's house to upper elementary, we only had a few families that were doing that. And we were able to then take that data and say, okay, how are we going to make sure that parents feel that there is this growth that they can see or expect for their children? And throughout the school year, teachers and administrators work together in analyzing that data and finding, okay, what was missing? What was the missing piece that we were not communicating to the parents? And throughout the year, we were able to develop a plan to make sure that we were showing the child's progress in different ways to the parents. And this year, we were able to retain almost all of our students, except a couple of families that were either moving out of the country or were truly not a good fit. But everybody else is returning. So I feel like, thoughtfully looking at the data and analyzing it and addressing the challenges honestly, we were able to be successful in enrollment for next year. And if you would like to reach me, this is our, I would say this is just taking back to our key takeaways from today, just making sure that we are communicating proactively and making sure that we are highlighting our success at every point with the parents to develop strong communication and relationships between parents and teachers. Also to find out exactly what your school is doing that is setting it apart from other schools in the area, and having your students be your student ambassadors. So with that, if you would like to reach me, I am available at the TEC schools, and you can either reach me by phone, text, or email. And I'll open the floor for conversation. We have a few more minutes. Or if you'd like to share your story of how you have been able to keep your enrollment growing. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupali. Any questions or comments before we wrap up? All right, I will be posting this recording later today, so you can check it out on the Nido Marketing YouTube channel if you want to watch it back or reference anything that we discussed today, or just take a look at the presentation that Rupali put together. Next week, we're going to be talking about how your website works in sync with Google Ads. So we're going to kind of take a deep dive. If you are interested in running Google Ads for your school, what you need to make sure is on your website before you do that, how long you can expect to start seeing results for Google Ads, and I'll be here to answer your questions about Google Ads as well as social ads if that's something you're interested in. So tune in next week for that. And again, if you have any topics that you'd like to see at a future town hall, please let me know. If you're on Montessori Thrive, we have a forum post currently where we're taking ideas for future town halls. So please feel free to let us know your comments or what you'd like to discuss in the future. All right. Thank you so much. Oh, and Rupali said here, please check out Rick Newberry's Enrollment Catalyst. Thank you, Rupali, for that, that additional resource. All right. Thank you so much, Rupali, for your wonderful presentation. I know this is a topic that's important to reflect on. It's always good to do some check-ins and see what strategies other Montessori school leaders are using. So thank you for sharing your ideas and strategies, Rupali.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right.
Good
Have a
luck
great
with
week,
you.
everyone. Thank you
Bye.
so much.